that there are different passages for meat and drink, the meat or dry ailment descending by the one, and the drink or moistening vehicle by the other, is a popular tenet in our days. But was the assertion of learned men of old. For the same was affirmed by Plato, maintained by Eutychus in Macrobius, and is deducible from Eratosthenes, Eupolis, and Euripides. Now herein men contradict experience, not well understanding anatomy and the use of parts. For at the throat there are two cavities or conducting parts, the one the esophagus or gullet, seated next to the spine. This is true. A part official unto nutrition, and whereby the ailment, both wet and dry, is conveyed unto the stomach. The other, by which 'tis conceived the drink doth pass, is the weazen. The weazen?
That's the throat.
Thank you, Quark. Rough artery or windpipe, a part inservient to voice and respiration, for thereby the air descendeth into the lungs, and is communicated unto the heart, and therefore all animals that breathe or have lungs have also the weazen, but many have the gullet or feeding channel, which have no lungs or windpipe, as fishes which have gills, whereby the heart is refrigerated. For such thereof as have lungs and respiration are not without the weazen, as whales and cetaceous animals. Okay, so people basically confuse the windpipe and the throat and the esophagus.
They think that, I guess, that you would drink water into your lungs and you would eat through your esophagus?
Yeah. As someone who's severely dehydrated just gets water forced into their lungs because of this?
We don't know why he wasn't able to drink it. It went down the right way.
Yeah, this person is just all fucked up. Not my fault. I shoved the water down the right pipe. Okay, moving on. In this paragraph, in the sidelines, it says, although the notation in the sidelines is relatively low in the paragraph, so I'm never quite sure what it's referring to. It's probably something in the last half or the last third that I'm assuming. Why a man cannot drink and breathe at once. Anacron the poet, if the story be taken literally. Okay. I got so much whiskey in my mustache, and when I speak, it gets everywhere. Again, besides these parts, destined to diverse offices, there is a peculiar provision for the windpipe, that is, a cartilaginous flap upon the opening of the larynx or throttle, which hath an open cavity for the admission of the air, but left thereby either meat or drink should descend. Providence hath placed the epiglottis lingula, or flap like an ivy leaf, which always closeth when we swallow, or when the meat and drink passeth over it into the gullet, which parts, although all have not that breathe, as all cetaceous and oviparous animals, yet is the weazen secured some other way, and therefore in whales that breathe, don't know of any others, but okay, left the water should get into the lungs, and ejection thereof. So ejection has a tie over the C and the T as well. So ejection. Yeah, it is a sh. Rested. Ejection thereof is contrived by a fistula or spout at the head. And therefore also, though birds have no epiglottis, yet can so contract. Again, tied CT, contract the rim or chink in their larynx, as to prevent the admission of wet or dry ingested, either whereof getting in occasioneth a cough until it be ejected. And this is the reason why a man cannot drink and breathe at the same time. Okay, yeah, that's definitely the sideline margin note here is next to these lines. Why, if we laugh while we drink, the drink flies out at the nostrils. Why, when the water enters the weazen, men are suddenly drowned. Well, yeah. Yeah. And thus must it be understood when we read of one that died by the seed of a grape and another by an hair in milk. What?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
All right, that's good to know because I am also unsure.
Apparently that one is the story of Fabius, who killed by hair and milk, is in a poet by Anacreon.
Really?
A poem by Anacreon. This footnote doesn't really elaborate on it. But that's,
no, it's something there, and they could probably do a whole video on that. But I'm not going to because I'm working from this book. But yeah, no, thank you. Final paragraph, okay. Now, if any shall still affirm that some truth there is in the assertion upon the experiment of Hippocrates, who killing an hog after a red potion found the tincture thereof in the larynx. If any will urge the same from medical practice, because in affections both of lungs and weazen, physicians make use of syrups and lampative medicines, we are not averse to acknowledge that some may distill and insinuate into the windpipe, and medicines may creep down as well as the ream before them. Yet to conclude from hence that air and water have both one common passage, were to state the question upon the weaker side of the distinction, and from a partial or gutturous irrigation to conclude a total dissension. And yeah, that's that. So, yeah, food and water goes down the esophagus. Oh my god, the game's glitched out by Omni. Missing No has entered the field and killed everybody.
Wait, what?
Oh, the video is just, the N64 is bugged out. I don't know who won that game. It was very close though. Anything else? All right, so closing comments. Mike Pence expressed regret because he didn't wear a face mask in a hospital, which I don't know why he's trying to present himself as, reflexive and caring and open-eared, level-headed leader. That's strange. And I've got written here, oh, right, Nicolas Cage is starring in a movie or a miniseries where he will play Joe Exotic, the Tiger King.
Yeah, I came across the Nicolas Cage. It's going to be an 8-part miniseries, apparently.
That was you that told me that, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I just got it written here, and I'm like, oh, I got to read that out. Sorry, it's an 8-part miniseries, you said?
A TV miniseries, 8-parter, yeah.
So I didn't, when I was talking to you earlier, I think I remember I said, I would watch that. And on later reflection, I think that, yeah, I probably would if it was on, or if it was available on a streaming platform and I had that amount of time. Or if it was on, I would definitely watch it. I don't know if I would go way out of my way for it. But that's very interesting. Thanks for telling me that.
I think how I would weigh that is do we get Crazy Cage or, Stable Cage? Because Stable Cage is boring and Crazy Cage is engaging.
There's no way that you can play Joe Exotic as a stable person, though. Or if it did, I'd still watch that. That's a hell of an acting. That's a commitment to a decision in acting.
Just think of the memes that will come from this.
Nicolas Cage is never able to financially recover from portraying Joe Exotic as a stable human being.